What's up, everyone? Welcome back to StrangeCast, a Life is Strange podcast made by fans for fans. I almost botched that intro, but we didn't. It's all good. It's all good. My name is Adnan. I'm one of your hosts. Obviously, the other person that just interrupted me is our other host, Adam. Adam, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. I'm having fun interrupting you and making you mess up by my creepy looks. But you know, here I am. I'm a whole year older now too.
Woo.
Future, yay!
Adam is well on the way to 40, whilst I look like I'm 40 in the video version. So, as you know, you're here. We are now the first episode of 2022. We've moved into a new year, and whilst Adam takes a swig of drink, I'm going to run you through the introduction, which is obviously that we are on video version of StrangeCast and also on podcast services. We're on Anchor, we're on Spotify, we're on iTunes, we're on all those services. We got signed up for it. So if you haven't gone over there, do subscribe, follow on there. You can listen through all of them and also rate them as well. It helps with the algorithms, and obviously rate on here as well, because it helps with the algorithms at the end if you decide to rate. You know, we do have dislikes sometimes. There is one person that seems to dislike a lot of the StrangeCast episodes, which I'm interested.
Like they're hidden, so we're fine.
I know I'm all for freedom of speech and everything else, but I'd be very interested to find why they have this kind of persistent dislike of having this. But anyway, but yeah, so that's happened. And also on my channel as well, we dropped an interview with Jim Hunt, who was the voice actor for Ducky and the motion capture actor for Ducky in True Colors. That was the last Life After Strange episode of 2021. So do check that out. I dropped it on New Year's Eve, which was maybe not the best day, obviously, because people are probably doing a lot of things on New Year's Eve. I filmed that so quickly, did it really early, and then like 2 days edited it, got it out. So I wanted to get it out as like the final episode of that series for 2021. But yeah, we're starting off 2022 with a bit more Life is Strange focus. Obviously, I think the last episode we focused on the Expanse. We had Gerda in there. So it's kind of like moving back and forth. And this is more heavy on Life is Strange. But we're not going to stick with Life is Strange first, because we're going to go to the Dontnod Montreal crew, which have kind of like teased a little bit more information in the last, just towards the end of 2021 over the holiday period. We didn't get to talk about it in the last StrangeCast episode. We're going to run through it onto this one. So I'm going to go to Michel first, who was obviously the co-director on Life is Strange 1 and 2. Mm-hmm. In one of his tweets, he put, "It's finally vacation time after a very intense couple of weeks casting talented performers for our unannounced project, interviewing talented musicians and seeing parts of the game finally come to life in Engine. We all deserve rest at Dontnod Montreal," which was his tweet on that. So obviously a fair bit of information kind of just being produced there. And then obviously Luc, who is, produced on Life is Strange, great guy. He also tweeted about it. He's a bit more, less, heavy on the information, but he's just put exciting things happening at Dontnod Montreal and our narrative game picture of him. So if you do go on Twitter, you'll see this picture of Luc, or it might even be the thumbnail. I might steal it, and I hope Luc doesn't mind either, which is going to be is one of those things where it's like, you subscribe to this channel. I've known him for many years. Great guy. I'm hoping he doesn't take too much. So yeah. Before we kind of discuss this, Adam, I'm going to run you through the people that are in this photo, which I think that I'm pretty sure these people are the ones there. So on the left, obviously, is Luc, who is the studio executive producer at Dontnod Montreal. So next to him is Matcha Lopez, who is the lead narrative designer at Dontnod Montreal, who also follows me on Twitter now, which is thank you, Matcha. And then, so the third person, he hasn't tagged this person in. So I had to kind of do a lot of sleuthing on LinkedIn. I went through a lot of the Montreal crew to figure out who it was. I think this is Mary Poulier, who's a cinematic artist at Dontnod Montreal. I had to kind of like cross-reference the glasses between the pictures, and like this is how level I couldn't get like a very up-to-date picture, and obviously face masks. It was hard to kind of see. So I think that's Mary. If I'm wrong, Luc, please, update me if you are watching this. And obviously the man on the far right is studio creative director Michel Koch, and obviously a lot of people know him. And before we start this as well, the funniest part is in the comments, someone actually like zoomed in. It's like, is that a picture of a cat on your piece of paper, Luc? And he's like, no, I was just hiding our project and the details. I was like, so I did the exact same thing. I zoomed in. It's like, there's always something here. Someone's always complacent with stuff like this. They do it with like True Colors when stuff started leaking. There was like, I think, a sticky note where it said Alex on it on one of the computers, and someone picked it out there. So, but yeah, this is kind of really interesting news that they kind of like teased. And obviously, I said like Michelle has going to give more details on it. They obviously look like in the picture as well. They look like they're in a studio, like a motion capture studio almost. Or like
that's a mocap studio.
Yeah, it looks like a very shooting kind of studio, if anything. And they have recruited for a lot, the studio. I still think they're recruiting as well for positions. But yeah, kind of like it's exciting to hear that they're kind of like, there's something there now. It's like, actors are coming in. They've got they're looking for their musicians, which obviously maybe does mention that Sid Matters is obviously, they're kind of going completely away from it. Like obviously Jonathan Morelli did the last 2 games for them, specifically Michel and Luc. I mean, and then obviously, they actually seen what the game looks like in Engine. So I'm very excited for like just them kind of like tease this. So it's like just seeing Michel's suite, I was like, oh, hello. It's like this is a topic to talk about life on StrangeCast. Adam, how do you feel?
It's okay. So first of all, it is weird to see Luc and Michel like in the same room together, and it's not about Life is Strange. Like it's like they were pretty clear that they're not working on Life is Strange, and everybody can say like, well, they're just saying that. People like me, but like, oh, they're just saying that. But really, in all honesty, we can look at Luc's picture, which, by the way, Luc follows me on Twitter, and I'm like, what? Why me? I just post memes and stuff. But yeah, so like Luc is there and Michel's there, but we're not talking about Life is Strange. And I think that's the strangest part of this whole conversation is that they're in their same room and not about Life is Strange. But like we've said, that's, like what you said, they're interviewing musicians, and it says casting after a couple weeks, casting as in like they've already did the casting for it, talented performers for unannounced project. So, and in the last part, finally come to life in Engine. Parts of the game finally come to life in Engine. So this is well into development that they have their cast and they have like stuff that is in Engine. So it's not like we're in the drawing board anymore. We've been in total silence from Dontnod for a long time, thinking that like they don't even have anything. Everything's on the drawing board. This is way past, the drawing board. You could consider this pre-production as well. You could do that.
I would say they're comfortably in pre-production now.
Yeah, they're in pre-production right now. So it's not like this is going to come out like next year, but we could get an announcement next year. That's the thing, is that if it's in pre-production right now in January 2022, that means when I say next year, I'm talking like 2023. Like we hear like a final announcement on all this. What do you think?
I was going to ask you about the actual the announcement details. That's my next thing that I was going to say.
I think it's going to be like spring 2023 that we hear anything.
I think we might even hear this year.
This year?
I think there's going to.
Well, that's the thing. It's not Bethesda. Bethesda likes to take their time with well, they used to. Let's put it that way. They used to.
I think like my kind of like understanding for that is that this project we don't really know much about. Like aside from some of the Life is Strange team going out to Montreal, and they built a studio from there. There's like a lot of hiring that they've done with it. And I've like sleuthed through who they've kind of hired. We don't know who's publishing the game, whether it's a self-published game from Dontnod, anything about the concept of the game. There's going to have to be like a big marketing push as well, because like the only thing they're kind of going to really be able to do, like selling point, is going to be from the creators of Life is Strange.
Yeah, that's it.
Or even that, I'm not really sure like if they're going to go down that direction, because obviously it's a Square Enix IP. Will they use from the creators of Life is Strange?
Oh,
because obviously like even you don't see it with like for example Kojima, like Death Stranding. There was no from Metal Gear Solid creator on the trailers or anything. It's it's just his name sells anyway, but they kind of just like he couldn't mention. They didn't mention it.
Oh, it's gonna be weird. They have to market this hard then. Yeah.
Because like this is the thing. Like obviously this is like where there will be like I think they've obviously got some kind of like popularity from it, but it is going to be a big push from Dontnod. Like how they're going to sell it, but it depends on who's publishing it as well. Is it just self-published? Is it another publisher getting involved with it? What platforms it's going to come from? I imagine it's probably cross-platforms across a lot of them. So there's like a lot of details there. I think I'm optimistic, if anything, that they might announce it this year. What it is.
Because I was going to say E3 is it's going to be an online event. You don't think so? I don't think it'll be
E3. That's like, was it June? It's online only. I don't know if they'll be ready for that. There's still E3 would probably be the most realistic, unless they go back to Gamescom It is in Germany. It's like,
Gamescom, because it is a European kind of place. Kind of place. It
is a European place.
When Games Fest is, because I know Games Fest.
I believe Game Developers Conference comes up very soon. Is that March?
No. I'm talking about like Summer Game Fest from Jeff Keighley.
Oh, can we not mention that?
Yeah.
Man?
What?
I feel like after my was it the last episode? I just rinsed him away. It could be a Game Awards announcement.
You think so?
November. You know what he's like. You know what he's like. He just like teases whatever. Like in terms of like he gets like loads of exclusive like announcements.
Like here's the thing: it says like has Jeff Keighley really had a good relationship with Life is Strange? You know, because he kind of like passes by it. Like he's always just kind of like. And here's my other question for you, Adnan. Because I have my opinion, but like, what do you think? Okay, so let's go back to like how they market this game. Let's go back to like how they market it, and then like, from the makers of Life is Strange, how even if they could do that, right? How well do you think that is marketable? Because here's my question: how much do you think like mainstream video game audiences really care? Because like when Ancestors came out, it's like from the creator of Assassin's Creed. You know, it's like, people know Assassin's Creed. Where do you think that kind of lies in like marketing, you know?
The marketing push will have to be big on this game.
Yeah.
And it's going to have to be like from very ground up. Like Life is Strange is very niche. It is very niche franchise.
It's like incredibly niche. It's like it's kind of like Genshin Impact in that way.
Yeah, of course. And that's the thing. Like I think obviously, like I might be proven wrong, but I think like they might have a conflict of interest of saying from the Life is Strange creators, like in a trailer, they might be able to do it. Obviously, they were developing, but I think they'll kind of like maybe build it around just the Dontnod brand. I think they're going to really push for the Dontnod brand.
Could they like from the creators of Remember Me?
Maybe I don't know if they even might go and mention it, like as you said, like it's not like from the creators of like Assassin's Creed, from Metal Gear Solid, from like Silent Hill. There's something, it's not got that same kind of impact. So I think like I'm interested more about like the
how
game.
They push this game,
pushing the game, and then just the game itself, because it's like remember like the two of them there, Luc and Michel, they like zoomed in on my iPad. I was like looking at their shit. Like their last two games are basically just being Life is Strange 1 and 2, and that's in a very respectful way. I'm saying like they focused on two games, like two mainline iterations in that franchise, but we haven't like this is a new IP. What is the game? What's the story? They're very cultured people. They go and like see things, like what they do, what they build, like the trips, the sites, like Life is Strange universe wasn't just something like was picked from a book. The Twin Peaks references, like they went to the US, they've traveled, like there's kind of like there's like a lot of fusion of cultures that they put into their games. So like it's very interesting to see it, and like we don't know like the roles either, because obviously like studio executive producers, studio director, there's managing director, but what roles are they assigned to? Because I was very I almost believe like in true colors that Webb might even be doing a solo directing job, but he wasn't. He was the performance director, and Zach Garris moved into the director's chair, and there's just kind of like a change. When we see more details, I think the project will come together. But obviously, where they are now, kind of like says a lot about it, because it obviously looks like a motion capture studio, and it's a big motion capture studio just from maybe the picture I'm looking at.
Yeah, no, I mean, I don't have a lot of experience with motion capture studios, so it's just like I can't tell like what's a big studio, what's not. But that looks pretty sizable, because the scaffolding, like we don't even see the top of that scaffolding at all.
Exactly, and obviously it's hard, obviously, because it's Luke's self. He's holding the camera, looking at it, so we don't know how big the studio is. It might even be not that big. I don't think it's in house, obviously, because like it's not like Deck Nines, for example. But like Michel's got experience with mocap, very limited though, from obviously Life is Strange 1, because that was shot very quickly. I think it was like maybe 10 days or something like that. During mocap labs, and it wasn't obviously full performance capture, because they just did the body motions, and it wasn't like full facial. It was very like essentially what they needed to kind of build the characters. And then I think Life is Strange 2 was very similar in the same vein. It wasn't like hugely kind of like the performance like on in true colors motion capture. So I'm very interested to see what this game is like. There's something when they kind of like saw those two tweets, obviously we talked about it. I just think it kind of like gave me a suggestion that this game is going to move ahead. And obviously a lot of things you've noticed in the industry is like they usually put out like a game teaser like well in advance. So like the biggest example I can give you is like the Wolverine game they announced from Insomniac Games. They put that out. That game is so far away in development. Jesus Christ, like don't even think like you're going to get it very soon. It's so far out in development. When they did that afterwards, they started advertising jobs. There's always that kind of thing of like, you know, we're building a game, you should come and help us build it. So it's very, very early stuff like that.
Well, yeah, like Quantic Dream's Star Wars game. You know, they did that, and they said like, oh, it won't be ready till 2025, I think, 2024, 2025. I remember thinking it was like, I would be 34 when the game comes out, and I'm like, why? Like, that's what I mean when I say that, like, I think they're going to announce it like next year, because have they ever been the type of people to like really even give like a little teaser? But even Before the Storm, when that was first teased, right? That came out later that year. I can't remember.
I believe from the top of my head, it was E3 was in June. They showed it there, they debuted it, and then they released in August. It was 3 mini episodes, and obviously it was Deck 9 when they did.
It was
that.
Deck 9, yeah. Like I'm not trying to say like they're the same people, but like you know, I don't think they're really one for teaser trailers. I don't think and I think they're smart about it too, because they know what it takes to start like an entire new IP and an entire new studio. And they still have the Dontnod name, I believe, right?
Yeah,
they still have the Dontnod name. So that's great. Like, from Dontnod, they still have that name. That's the only push. But I think they're smart about it, that they won't really announce anything until they have something to show. Even if it's just in engine, it's something to show rather than a teaser.
Yeah, I'm just obviously like the only thing that kind of makes me wonder why this project won't get announced this year is the pandemic. Like every project is getting pushed back in the industry, everything is getting affected, and more so like obviously I think like with True Colors there was a lot of things that seem to have changed in the production of that via the pandemic kind of like result as well. I'm just have a funny feeling. There's was it 6 projects that Dontnod said that they had in production a while back. Yeah. This one seems like they're going to make some headway with it. And I have a funny feeling, my optimism is that there's a late window, the Game Awards probably later this year, that they might even try and get something out, even if it's a small teaser of what it is. Not like something huge, but a teaser announcement essentially for it. And then
it's not going to be this summer. That's for damn sure.
Yeah, and then maybe aim for a 2020 release window. These guys have been out obviously in Montreal since like the second Life is Strange was out. They've been building a studio. Obviously, it seems like the foundations are all pretty much there. They've seen the game in engine as well. The casting for performances. So yeah, I think like I'm optimistic that we're going to see this game this year. I think there'll be a big,
but late this year.
Yeah, very late. I think it'll be I think because obviously the game was December. This year, last year?
Games Awards like December 20th or something like that.
That's what makes me feel like it's going to be that window where they hit it, and I think that they'll drop something, even if it's a little bit small. And it's a good platform because it'll just be if they can try and get it on the main show as well.
It's going to be one of those pre-show announcements.
No, they have to. They need I think they'll try and push it to get on the main show just to kind of like sell it from that.
Yeah, because like here's the other thing, like, and I'm going to talk about this in another part of this show. But like the freaking like the return of Telltale, and they're like, just put it in the pre-show, screw them. I'm like the hell? I was just like, but whatever, it is what it is. So I'm thinking like what you said, either Game Awards, or they're gonna do something like spring of 2023. But it's definitely not going to be like anytime soon this year.
Yeah, I think that's
teaser. Yeah,
I agree with you. I think like it's going to be. It'll be interesting to see when they drop in. I feel like even if they get the Game Awards, can you always get like, Jeff Keighley be like, and the studio from Dontnod who helped produce The Life is Strange. It kind of like helps build the, the a little bit marketing of it. But either way, that was very exciting news just to kind of see from Luc and Michel and kind of like their game. And obviously we will cover that as extensively because, I feel like on a Life is Strange podcast from the creators of Life is Strange and what they did for that series, obviously, I feel that's going to be on there. So I feel like we've kind of like walked through that topic. That was, as we said.
Yeah. And if Michelle wants to follow me, that would be cool too. Whatever.
He doesn't follow me yet either. It's been my goal of trying to get him to follow me. Maybe one day. So yeah, we'll move on from that. As you said, like we haven't got loads to talk about in this show because it is the start of the year and like the news is very sparse. And I kind of went to insert this topic in, which is going to be our Life is Strange plans for 2022. So I kind of like, explained to Adam, like, will we revisit a certain part of the franchise? What we're going to do post True Colors, post True Colors.
You're on that South Park mindset.
I love it. It's so good, those episodes. But anyway, Life is Strange. So I know what we're going to do for our plans. Obviously, the main topic of the segment, which might be the title, is you'll obviously know there's something we can do for 2022. But like, I was going to pitch that and like what we're going to do, because we probably won't see another Life is Strange game this year, are we? Realistically, it's not going to happen.
I mean, well, here's the other thing is that like, okay, so here's my theory. I think we might get another spin-off game this year. I think we might get like a Before the Storm kind of deal, because Deck 9 has a lot of different games going on. We could get another 3-episode one, but this year, like get announced at Game Fest, and then get released in August, kind of like Before the Storm, kind of like just to, get our taste buds going again. Because I think, if we're right, I think Deck 9 and Dontnod, like Dontnod Montreal, I think they're in cahoots with each other. I think they're still like bros, kind of like fist bump each other, like, yo, what's up? We still need some things. But then again, we have the Life is Strange remaster coming out soon. But, going back to my thoughts here, is that I think it's just to help, reassemble, like, hey, Life is Strange is still a thing. Here's like a 3-episode thing. What do you think? Kind of like a spin-off mini game, kind of like they did Before the Storm.
Yeah, maybe so, because it's going to be a weighted period, because like this, the remaster.
It's going to be a long one, yeah.
Yeah, because like the remaster collection drops next month, and then after that, yeah, which is wild. And then like in this period, you have the final run of the comic series coming to an end. The Vieceli comic series comes to an end in this year. I think it's running still. Yeah, it runs it up to this year and ends. And then in between that, there's nothing else. So it's like genuinely the first period of like, for a while, Life is Strange has been empty, because like the comic series has been running for a long time. You know, all the other games coming out on it. I don't know if they're making another game like a 3-episode one. It'd be interesting to see.
No, but like I think it's. Here's the thing.
Well, but they'd have to release it as like a AAA game now, because like that's what the True Colors benchmark has said, isn't it?
Well, not necessarily. I don't think it has to be like a AAA benchmark, because it is like a spin-off. Like look at
But would you go back to that though? Would you go back to kind of like a BTS style game after like dropping a fully AAA game?
I love Before the Storm. I loved Before the Storm.
I love BTS. I just
here's the thing. As long as it's more Life is Strange, it's like I really don't mind. Kind of like. I need to be satisfied with my life.
You sound like a Ubisoft merch here with all this kind of like I need a yearly. I don't think we'll see another Life is Strange game come out this year. I think that I think
it's realistic that we won't, but I still have hope.
Yeah, I personally think the next entry is probably in development off the top, like just a kind of like hunch based on what I'm doing. But I think we will probably go a bit quiet on the Life is Strange front a little bit. I think we'll see like it'll just be an interesting period. Like my plan anyway is kind of like, this month I'm going to pick up the PS3 version of Life is Strange 1, just kind of play through it again, because I want to kind of refresh my memory of like this game before I play the remaster. Then obviously I'm going to pick up the Remastered Collection. If you are, we're going to drop the episode later next week and the offer will be expired, but I hope you kind of seen on the PS Store, there is like a sale on Life is Strange Ultimate Edition, which you should pick up, which is like what I'm going to get.
Is there?
Yeah, it's like, I think it's like maybe like £10 price drop or something. It expires on the 9th of December.
£10.
That's in January.
As if I do my dollars and pounds.
Well, yeah, it's what that is. But yeah, sorry, and then it's like I think expires on like the 9th of January or something. The day for it. So I'm going to pick that up. Okay, I didn't pick up the Ultimate Edition to start with. I just picked up I wanted a physical version because I got the Steelbook over there. So I'm going to be doing that, and then kind of like I want to catch up with the Vieceli series as well. So I've got the first 3 arcs in there, but I've got the last 2, and they were very interesting. Because like my interview that I did with Emma Vieceli last year was like up to that point where it was like we stopped exactly when those arcs had come out. And like she was obviously quite teasing things. So like certain characters turned up. We talked about Brody turned up when we talked, and Victoria turned up as well, which is quite interesting in the comic, which is always nice to see. So like my plan is kind of like revisit parts of the series, and then I think like from there, who knows? Oh, and I'll probably play True Colors again at some point. I kind of want to revisit that and maybe see if my opinion has changed on it. I was a bit critical of it, but within good right as well, which is interesting. Like it was a as an interesting entry in the series. Not a bad one, but also a couple of problems I had with it. What?
No, I'm just like when you're just like, oh, I had a couple problems with it. Oh, it's just 2 of them, maybe 200 problems. You know.
Yeah, but I have 200 problems with everything. Like, you ever follow me on Twitter or like see anything? Like, yeah, but I have to though. I feel like
you're just talking about Resurrections. I was like, I'm having a good time with it. And you're like, this is stupid. I'm British. I have to hate everything. Blah blah blah.
Matrix Resurrections is a terrible, terrible film. But anyway, I won't go into that because it's too much. But Adam, yeah, I've got not much else to talk about this topic, but I've kind of like got my plans set for this. If you are like you're listening, do leave us in the comment what you think. Like, let us know your plans for Life is Strange. Because obviously it's gonna be, as I said, a very interesting year. We're not even waiting like a full year for the remastered collection to come out. It's coming out next month, which is mad.
I was just looking up when it comes out in terms of like the calendar that I have, and it's coming out February 1st. I thought it was coming later in February, but it's coming out February 1st. It's like I got so much. I just like, oh my God, it's crazy because like I was telling you before the show, like I just got promoted at my job, and I'm moving again. It's same state, by the way, same state, still North Dakota, but I'm still moving to a better place in March. So it's like February 1st is going to be like, awesome, great, thank you. But, things can be worse. Life is strange, gotta live with it.
I think it's dropping at a perfect time for me because I can play those and then Horizon Forbidden West comes out. And it's like this perfect springboard for me. So like I can play those 2 games quickly and get them kind of like done. And obviously I imagine we're both picking up on the release, so we'll probably try and do a review discussion of it, like as what we think of the true remastered collections.
I was gonna say, are we doing like Horizon? Because I don't have a
PS5. No, we're not doing Horizon. This is StrangeCast. We do Life is Strange stuff. I mean,
I was like, wait a second.
We'll probably do like a review discussion, not like obviously, what do you think of the story? It'll be like more about the kind of like just what we kind of gauge. From the experience of like the remaster. Because it's just interesting to have. It will be a sight to behold to see what they're doing with that. And I feel like that's a perfect springboard for the actual main topic. And as I said, it's not going to be a huge episode, this one, probably, because it's going to be like we're such early in the kind of days.
My 2022 plans for Life is Strange.
I thought you did.
No.
Well, go on, tell me your 2022 plans. Ruin my springboard, but we'll jump back so you can tell me 2022
plans. Us Americans are always just like ruining springboards for the British people, getting your kids over here. But George Washington was like, no. My 2022 plans, it's a little bit different than yours. It's going to be quite different because I'm going to be more prepping myself for like in terms of story games kind of way. Because first, once the Vieceli comics end, I think that's when I'm going to read the comics because there's going to be like this major collection, like get all the series all at once. Here's the book. So then it's just like, it's all there for me.
Yeah.
Because I read up till I think comic number like 7 or 8. And I was like, oh, I'm good. And then, more came out and there's more. So I'm going to wait until there's like a full collection. I'm like, okay, thank you. I'm going to read all of them.
I've got the 3 collections so far, like the actual main books with all the comics here.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna wait until like it's all there.
Yeah.
And then I'm gonna do. I actually just replayed The Wolf Among Us because I wanted to get prepped up for like Telltale and Deck Nine's project because I'm prepping myself for Telltale, but I'm also going to watch The Expanse. Like I'm actually gonna do it. I'm gonna watch all 6 seasons. I texted you. And I was just like, hey, I'm watching this right now. But like I was sick from work. I was super sick or something like that. Like I had something. Like it wasn't COVID, by the way. So I think it was like a flu that's going around North Dakota. And in the second episode, I had one of those sick naps. So like, you're just like in bed, you're just like watching something, you're just like, I just like fell right asleep. I'm like, oh snap. And I was like on episode 5. I was like, awesome. So I'm actually going to watch The Expanse during this because I'm catching up on some Telltale games, but I'm also watching The Expanse to see what Deck 9 is doing. I want to get prepared for myself. So I'm reading the comics to like prepare my mind for like the way Life is Strange is going. I want to watch The Expanse to actually like know like something from from the source material, so that when Deck 9 and Telltale come back with the Expanse, that I don't know if it's going to come out this year. Like, there's no way the Expanse is coming out this year. Do you think so?
No,
there's no way.
No, not a chance. I don't know how far that game is in development, but not a chance. We'll hear more about The Wolf Among Us 2 this year, like properly hear more about it. But
that's true. Yeah, I think that's why I caught up on The Wolf Among Us, because I'm like, oh man, the second one's going to really come out.
It's going to blow people away.
And then this is why I want to bring my discussion in, because I am most definitely going to be replaying Life is Strange 2. Mentioned now rushing through. I'm actually going to play it and give my second opinion about it, because I think I played through it twice and I was just like, I can't. But that was back, like I told you, that was back in New York.
Folks, that episode is going to be so dope. I'm just putting that out there.
I'm in a better mindset now than I was back when I was living in New York. I think it's going to be a better kind of look back on the game. I think it's still not going to be my favorite Life is Strange, but I think I'm going to like it better. But I'm going to replay it with full intention of like the story and just gameplay, just like getting a good mindset for it. So,
folks, you'll hear it here first. Watch, you'll come back and you'll be like, Adnan, I was wrong about Life is Strange 2. The Matrix Resurrection sucks. And you are so right about a lot of things. I will hear those words on that episode. It's going to be one hell of an episode. Because this man...
I really do want a queen in America. Like, I don't know. I'm done with this whole president thing. I want the queen to come to America.
This man will become a Life is Strange 2 convert. I ride the Life is Strange 2 flag every single day because that game is great.
Doorway. Like, this is my doorway into Haven. And, like, that doorway might change into... wherever Life is Strange 2 takes place, because it takes place in a lot of places.
It does. And if you are listening on the audio version, Adam is pointing to his background, which you can see on the video version of this podcast. So you should definitely tune into it. But no, you have very exciting 2022 plans, and obviously like that Life is Strange 2 episode is going to be, as I said, I'm very excited for it. There's a lot to talk. There's a lot to talk about.
Content, you know.
There's a lot to talk about. So no, very interesting 22 plans, and I feel like it's glad that you pulled me back on that, so we could talk about it. And now we can move forward, hopefully.
Okay.
So yeah, like as I said, those two are going to be our main other two topics, and I think the second one was a bit shorter, but we'll have some twists and turns hopefully this year with Life is Strange, and there's a lot of topics we can talk about in general. But this one we're going to start off with about the Life is Strange Remastered Collection, which, as you said, we know is going to drop out in less than a month now when this episode comes out. The days are ticking. You have to own the Ultimate Edition of Life is Strange True Colors to own it, which is a bit of a shame that they're not releasing like a steelbook.
I think they're releasing it separately digitally.
Oh yeah, you can buy them separately as well. Sorry, I remember them announced
you can buy the Ultimate Edition, which is technically cheaper.
Yeah. It's a lot. It must be like a lot cheaper. I swear they were charging them quite high, the prices.
Yeah.
Individually.
I think because the Ultimate Edition. Well, how much is it? You said £10 in London.
No, it's like 54 pounds, £51 at the minute. It's like 65 at retail. So maybe like, was it 70?
Yeah,
$75.
Whereas like by itself, the Life is Strange collection, I think is 40. I think I read that it's going to be $40. So like if you
buy True Colors.
Yeah, if you haven't bought True Colors yet, might as well. Excuse me, but I forget why I didn't buy the Ultimate Edition. I think I was like broke at the time. Oh yeah, because I was saving up to move to North Dakota. So I was just like, I was like, I think I'll just save up and I'll just like get the deluxe edition instead. So the
only reason I didn't buy that, because obviously I wanted the other two games. The only reason I didn't buy it is because I wanted the steelbook, which is annoying. It's like, it's a cool steelbook as well. So that's the only reason I didn't get it. But this is dropping like less than a month. The kind of topic of the idea is like, why fans are worried about this remaster, and also like what we kind of want to see, because like I've seen like a lot of like worry about the series. And I know obviously, the Dontnod crew are involved in this. They were, I think, quite surprised that it was actually happening. They had no idea what was going on as well. So like, I'm not really worried about it, like the way that people are worried about it. Like people, I think I have this kind of weird kind of feeling that people almost like doing. So, okay, I can see it. I can see why some people are worried. I can see why other people kind of maybe are blowing out of proportion. I always kind of like stress that this is a remastered version of the game. It's not, they're not replacing Hannah Tell. They're not replacing Ashley Birch's voice. They're not like changing the voices like that. They're going to keep them, I imagine, pretty much the exact same. They're not adding content to it. They can kind of like just upscaling the resolution as well. And I don't know if you actually noticed, we have seen a couple of changes already, if you watch the trailer.
Yeah.
So I believe in one of the scenes in the Remastered Collection trailer, Chloe's in her bedroom and she's not wearing the jacket anymore.
Yeah.
Like when she's on the bed and she's lying back, I can remember see like someone on Reddit say, they took Chloe's jacket with like your crying emojis. But for me as well, it makes kind of sense as well. Cause it's like, why is she wearing a jacket in a room?
Why is she wearing a jacket in her own bedroom? Like that's
because
sorry. Just making sure this isn't like important. It's not. It's just my mom.
So yeah, like they're doing sort of versions. I think like obviously I'm not worried in the sense like George Lucas going back to the original Star Wars trilogy and changing it like 600 times with like loads of unnecessary additions. And I don't even mind like the subtle additions that they've done with like Chloe, where it's like obviously removing the jacket. It's not like Steven Spielberg replacing guns with walkie-talkies and ET. So it's like those kind of sort of additions don't bother me. So I'm like all fine for it. My kind of main worry maybe like be with the resolution of like how it looks, because obviously the art style is so distinct on the first Life is Strange.
Yeah. And
even on Before Storm, it's so distinct of how they were doing it. They have to change things. So obviously you see stuff with Max change, like her emotions, her face as well, because the performance captured it. And then on top of that, they kind of had to change the aesthetic of it a little bit. Just kind of like fit it all together. So I'm very open-minded anyway. It just gave me a chance to go and see the games again. Bloody hell, it's 6 or 7 years later that game. And obviously 5 years later for Before Storm. So it's mad that it's been that long. But yeah, it's not a full-blown remake. I don't think the game will ever get. It doesn't really need a remake either. No. I have a funny feeling it might do that, which is going to be something if it ever happens. But yeah, I'm excited for what I've seen so far. I think that the pushing it back was probably the best thing they could have done as well, because it was meant to drop last year, and I don't think realistically it was just seemed like a lot of stuff was happening at the same time. So I think the pushback is good to kind of give them the Deck 9 teams kind of time to polish up the game and kind of like do what they need to do. But I'm just hoping it launches in a good state, because True Colors didn't launch in a good state, and that's like where my main worry is.
Yeah, no, you're right about that. And I have one game example, right? I have one game example where I think why people are so scared at the moment right now. I think, okay, I want you to guess. Like, you have two guesses of like what game that recently came out that was a remaster, and now people are scared.
Grand Theft Auto Definitive Edition. And do you know what the worst part as well? We don't know as well. On top of that, because I was going to bring that up as well. It's a good thing you mentioned it. We don't know if the music's going to be the same in both these games.
Yeah. No, we don't.
That's because obviously this is like
dog. It's a real thing.
Because this is the issue of like obviously one of my favorite things that I did is to kind of mention it. I bought the original editions of the Grand Theft Auto games on the PS Store before they were pulled. Like, because they went on sale last year. I picked them up because I was like, I want to play them again. And then I might pick up the Definitive Edition because it's kind of like, and then when it ended in disaster, I was like, I'm so happy that I bought these free games and it's just sitting in my library. Whenever I want to play them, I can play them now. So the problem with like, obviously, the way that they made the game Grand Theft Auto, the Trilogy Definitive Edition, what it was ridiculously called. With that, it's not a Definitive Edition where you don't have the original music in it, because the music seemed more iconic with it. Yeah. And with like the first Life is Strange, obviously the soundtrack is incredible on that. And the they'll have the original music from Sid Meier's. From Jonathan Morelli of Sid Meier's. But they have his original score. But will they have other songs in there? That were on the soundtrack.
It's neither confirmed nor denied.
Exactly.
That they have the original songs.
Now that is a game changer for me. That will be the one where it's like, oh, I think I would genuinely go inside. If I imagine, like, obviously, there's just some scenes where they play certain songs, and I'm like, I can't listen to it something else. I think it's the change.
Imagine the Chloe's funeral scene without that song. Because like everybody picks, the Bay over Bay, and I'm right, and everybody else is wrong, and that music song is like so incredible, and it's actually canon. It's actually people are stupid for picking the bay over the bay because Pompidou.
Don't worry, folks. I'm going to re-edit this clip, so it's going to be me talking over him and repeating the actual correct answer of it. But no, you're right though, because like that example is like one of it, and like there's many examples in that first game alone that you miss things. And obviously, if we go into the Before the Storm, which whilst people didn't necessarily like Before the Storm compared to the first game, I love Before the Storm. But like they had Daughter doing the soundtrack, and obviously everyone fucking loves Daughter after the BTS. Like everyone loves them, and there were so many good songs that they had, and even on top of the soundtrack in general, like what's going to be added, what's going to be taken away. That's where, for me, realistically, that argument makes sense. So I think like I've kind of drawn parallels. I've drawn lines where it's like, I don't think they're going to do a George Lucas Star Wars hash on it, where they kind of like change so much scenes in it. I think there'll be subtle changes, and I think
George Lucas. To your point, like George Lucas didn't just take things away, but he added so much. So much. Like George Lucas, like, oh, this is. I had a dinosaur here. Why? I don't know. Fuck it.
Yeah, I feel like when he did it the first time, it was like okay. I was like, that's all right. But then when he went again and again, I was like, okay, you're getting a bit carried away, George. I defend George Lucas on a lot of things, but like that one was a bit like
Blu-ray one. It was just kind of ridiculous.
Yeah, at that point I was a bit like maybe George, you're going a bit too far with this. You know, we know it was made in a different time. You don't have to like add like 600 aliens in there, kind of make
that's the thing. It's like it's one thing to subtract from a game. It's another thing to add to a game. Yeah, and like, it's kind of like a little bit insane in that sort of sense. And I think that's why people are a little bit skeptical. They're like, you're leaving things, but are you adding things? Are you adding a song that I don't want in the game? Are you adding Lamb of God songs? Like, what's up?
I mean, like you could probably, I imagine, Chloe listens to Lamb of God, but no, like I feel like you're right, because I feel like my worry, I can understand. I'm not gonna say you ever get blown out of proportion in terms of like a fan reception towards it, and I kind of get where half and half the arguments come from, because it's like you don't want loads of things changed, you don't want to add loads of things. I don't think they're gonna add a lot of things. I think they might tweak little things, like maybe just take some of the scenes and kind of like twist it, like just like maybe one addition of like maybe moving Max's coat away or whatever it's going to be, like as they did with that Chloe scene, for example. And I'm not really too fussed with that. And like I said, obviously they'll probably like change some of the faces and like the animation. Obviously they're adding that in. They worked a lot of times to kind of emphasize that, and it needed it as well, because obviously, as I've said many times, the first Life is Strange, one of the biggest criticisms was lip syncing, and you could really see it with the issue that they had with that game. They've tried to kind of refine it, just didn't really hit for them. So this kind of like really helps, you know, add that kind of one little flaw that was kind of in the first Life is Strange. And I think as well as on top of that, you'll probably get I was gonna say, so you get rid of the flaw of that, and then I mean, you'll probably see a bit more emotion in the characters as well, because obviously they're kind of like, you know, when they were just moving, there was no like real emotion in the face. I think they were trying to stress it. Because I'm looking forward to obviously seeing the scene like in Before the Storm when like Rachel burns down the forest. And it's like when she screams, and obviously imagine that with the performance capture and the faces, it just adds to the kind of experience of that. So I'm all for that.
Just to confirm, like with this collection, we're just getting Life is Strange 1 and Before the Storm, right?
Yeah, they've snubbed the greatest out of all of them, so which is a fucking...
You're right.
You were probably on the marketing team. You were like, oh, let's leave Life is Strange 2 because no one likes Life is Strange 2.
Oh, Life is Strange 2. I thought you were talking about Captain Spirit. Like they completely botched the like Captain Spirit out of this. Like
Captain Spirit's a weird one. That was just a spin-off tech demo, essentially. It's part of the Life is Strange. I always treat it as the same entity. If I talk about Life is Strange 2, I include Captain Spirit in it. It is part of the... It's just a very like short.
It's the first one that I actually connected with personally. Like it hit home so hard, because like that was essentially my childhood. I was like, oh snap, is this what Life is Strange 2? And I think that's another reason why I hated Life is Strange 2, because Captain Spirit was like hit hard home for me. And it's like, so is this the main character? It's like, no, barely even the character. It's gonna be a character in the second episode, and screw you.
Don't worry, he's disrespecting Chris now, kids. But don't worry, as I said before, he'll go back and play this game, and you'll regret it. He'll apologize to the entire StrangeCast audience.
Here's the thing. It's just okay. We'll talk about that in Life is Strange.
That's gonna be such
one thing, and I hated this part. Is just like in Captain Spirit, right? His dad was so pissed drunk that he just like fell right over. Like he drank an entire bottle of whiskey, an entire bottle. I think it was a rye whiskey too, from the coloring of it. That was a rye whiskey. And so like he's like flopping everywhere, and then his son falls, and then immediately Sober's like, oh son, you okay? You need a piggyback ride? I'm like, dude, I have 2 glasses of whiskey and you could not even get me to carry a remote, let alone piggyback a boy. Get out of here. Stop it. Like
Charles Ericsson's a strong arm for
he's a strong Nordist man, you know.
Yeah, he can hold his liquor, so it's all good for him.
Obviously gonna
we'll come back on these conversations later. Yeah, well, let's go stick with the Storm Before Storm collection. Yeah. I'm a little bit more disappointed they didn't try and physically release this.
I know.
I would love a steelbook. I would have loved a fucking steelbook. It would have been so good to have one.
Steelbook, but just kind of like a memoriam of like the first Life is Strange. Make it like an anniversary edition. I don't think it will be. Okay, when did the first Life is Strange come out? Like
2015.
Like the exact dates.
January 2015. Is it January 27th, 2015?
Wow, look at you. Okay, Mr.
I think it might have been that. Have a look at it. I think it might have been January 27th, 2015. I'd be mad if I actually remember that.
Because that's the thing. It's close to the anniversary of the first Life is Strange. So why can't we have like an anniversary collect? Yeah, BTS is part of it, but you know.
Yeah, I just wish it had like that physical retail. I think like a lot of people would have loved having it, but I think it'd just be more of a lot of like legwork for them to kind of like get an entire like.
Look at this. Okay, the first release, January 30th. The 30th of January. Like it's coming out like pretty much. Like, is there 31 days in my month? Like, it's like, I don't know. I can't keep. Yeah, there is 31. So it's coming out 2 days after the actual like anniversary of it. And yeah, sure, it's nothing special about. Was that 2022 now? It is.
Yeah,
it's like this 7-year anniversary. It's like, you know, it doesn't really strike as hard. I get that, but at the same time, it's an anniversary edition. You know, and I wish there was like some artwork into it.
But it was never planned for, remember? Because they delayed it.
Oh yeah, true. That's true.
It would have been good if they had planned it, like you said. That would have been the kind of the nail in the thing. Was like, oh yes, you know, pre-order the Life is Strange. Remastered collection, you get a steelbook and an art thing, and it'd be like they could even do a limited run as well. That would be actually quite interesting. They've just done like a limited run of it. I would be like first in the queue trying to pre-order that, but I just find it's just a bit like I was like, right, it's part of the Ultimate Edition, and it's like you can buy it separately. But then I'm like looking at it, like, why would you buy it separately when the Ultimate Edition is just like more?
Yeah, it's just it's a little bit wild, like to think about. But going back into like, okay, we're off track of just like upset about, but like that's the other thing why people are upset about it is because it's not really treated special. We don't know much about it. Even Dom, I think was this Dom the Bomb, I think. But yeah, Dom the Bomb, where he's just like waiting for Life is Strange Remastered Collection to get any sort of attention or any marketing at all. And it's just like Kermit the Frog just like waiting there, like it's like, it's so true. Like we got like the teaser trailer when Life is Strange True Colors came out, and it was just like the silhouettes and just like flowing through. It's like, oh, there's Chloe. Oh, there's this. We got some screenshots. Yeah, like I know this game doesn't really need marketing, but I think that's why a lot of people are kind of skeptical because we've gotten some really bad remasters lately, including GTA Remastered. Trying to think of another.
That remaster is horrendous.
And the other thing is, I think they're expecting a remake, like the Resident Evil 2 remake or the Resident Evil 3 remake. Like they're really expecting this to be a remake, and I'm not really understanding it. This is a remaster.
Yeah, it's a remaster. I think like you're hitting your own head at that, and I think even the marketing point comes back quite interesting as well. I think from my perspective, how this thing, I think that because they packaged it with True Colors, they essentially know that a lot of people are going to pick it up anyway. Hence why they're probably not dropping like loads of teaser trailers. And then also if you're dropping like 3 or 4 trailers and put manpower on it, it's like, what are you going to show more about it? It's like, we're giving more of the game away to people. It's like one kind of people's going there, like not really seeing loads of like the remastered footage. I think it got a very mixed reaction. Obviously, the first time they kind of dropped it, it was like, hang on a minute, look a little bit like some of the characters. Yeah. I think obviously development period, I feel like they will look a little bit different. But I think realistically, it would take something of a different proportion to botch this up. Because obviously the GTA ones, like really, when you look at it, it's like Rockstar really messed that up in like many different ways. Because they just upscaled a lot of things. And like, I think there was like loads of clips where it's like, they typoed a lot of things in there because they upscaled it, but they didn't really check the spellings on like a lot of the shops. They don't make sense. And like a lot of the other issues that kind of flared up in that game. But for me, the biggest worry I think, if anything, is the music. That's going to be the real, one. If I actually start playing it, it's like, hang on a minute, this song's not playing. It's like, wait a minute, what's it's because you can't get the licensing on it.
I was trying to Google like remastered games 2021.
Yeah.
All I get is like, the 2021 release day schedule. I'm like, okay, no.
I know Alan Wake was released last year, remastered. I haven't played that yet.
I haven't played the remaster. It's been on sale, and it's one of those games where I'm just like, I don't want to buy it yet because I don't have the time to play it. So, like it's going to be on sale all the time. Yeah, but like people are a little upset because like even go into THQ Nordic, right? THQ Nordic, they're always remastering games, and it's always coming out subpar. It's not like it's upsetting people, because even think of Kingdom of Amalur, like Re-Reckoning, right? People are just like, oh, it's fine, I guess. I think the only one that people actually really enjoyed was Destroy All Humans.
Yeah.
Which they use the same voice acting as the original game, and that just feels so weird because it's such an old school voice acting job, and it's in like this really nice remaster. It's just like it just feels weird. But even SpongeBob Rehydrated, that was a little bit, kind of mixed reaction too. There's a lot of like remasters that came out that's just kind of like, oh, it's okay.
Yeah, I think like you have every right to be skeptical of a remaster now, because like I think the industry is regurgitating them now, which is the more furious part, because like when we started getting early remasters, it was like, this is really cool, I can play my old games now, they can be upscaled. But it does seem to be like some kind of opportunity with some publishers to cut corners and basically release a hash product and be like, a way of kind of tapping into nostalgia and getting a bit of sales when it certainly doesn't deserve it. I think realistically with Square Enix, they're kind of going to put the attention towards it and really kind of make this some kind of, it would be crazy for them, seeing as that, like, what they've done with the Max and Chloe story arc of the comic series and how popular Max and Chloe are compared to every other protagonist, of this series. It would be ridiculous for them to botch this up as well, because it's easy sales, it's easy numbers, and in itself as well. If you haven't,
does Square Enix really care about Life is Strange?
Not as much as the other franchises.
That's what I mean.
But
just like,
boy, is an established franchise.
Like, because that's the thing. It's just like okay, I'm gonna just keep talking about Square Enix right now. I don't really care. But like Square Enix doesn't really care about Life is Strange. They don't really care about that because they're making aren't they in the NFT game now?
Yeah,
like
unfortunately.
They're in the freaking NFT game. So it's like when we talk about like pure care, thank God that like isn't Deck 9 doing the remaster of this?
Yes.
So it's like Deck 9, I will say Deck 9 cares about Life is Strange. We've noticed that like the evidence is there from Before the Storm and Life is Strange True Colors. They care a little bit. Here we go. But they care. Square Enix, I don't think cares. They care about their Marvel license. They care about Final Fantasy. They care about they used to care about Sleeping Dogs, but
travesty. That was a great game.
I almost made a video. I think it still will. I have a new Evalt video that's going to be about like why I should play a certain game. It almost was Sleeping Dogs, but I was like, I don't know if I want to.
It should absolutely be Sleeping Dogs. That's such a great game. If you haven't played Sleeping Dogs, I would recommend it. It's so goddamn good.
But like, but that's what I mean. Square Enix doesn't really care about their IPs, and I think it shows by them going into the NFT game. So it's like, what I mean? It's like when we talk about like, oh, will Square Enix like put a little check mark on this? I think they will, just to like get it out the door.
Yeah, I think you have every right to be skeptical again of Square Enix, because obviously, like, Marvel's, the Avengers, and NFTs, and like a lot of things you can bring up to kind of like question it. Well, I think Life is Strange has been lucky to have like a good run of like games that have not had really like a whole load of issues. So I think that's kind of like a positive for them. And I think like I just don't think they're going to rubber stamp this and get it out there if it's a bad remaster, bad remaster of all the stuff, because they're reissuing some of the like facial animations and stuff. Like, why would they kind of put that much effort towards it? They're gonna like just rehash it.
It's like it could be either way, because like the Square Enix is smart, because like the other part is like they put out some good quality stuff besides, well, like wasn't Guardians of the Galaxy Square Enix?
No,
It is.
Yes.
What was
yes, I
it?
believe it. The IDS Montreal.
I don't know.
I
I
have a
mean,
funny- I
it
have a
has to
funny-
be.
I have a funny feeling it is Square Enix.
It has to be. It has to be.
Whilst you look, yeah, you
Yeah,
look
I'm
that
looking
up.
up.
I think I can understand the reservations, and I think my kind of advice is just kind of
Yep, it is. Marvel's Adventure Square Enix. Okay, so it is. So that was nominated for a lot of awards at the Game Awards, and it won Best Narrative. One freaking Best Narrative. And a lot of people have a lot to say about that game. So I think Avengers was kind of their downfall, where they're just oh crap, we're losing money. Put out Guardians of the Galaxy, make sure the remaster is okay. Put out a lot of NFTs. We need money. We need money.
Yeah.
So I have some. Okay, so for the record for this podcast, I don't have any kind of reservations for the remaster. I think the remaster is going to come out fine. I think we're going to play through it. I think here's my prediction of my reaction and your reaction. And here's going to be my reaction. I'm going to see it as a nice warm hug, kind of like the Matrix Resurrections. It's a nice little warm hug. You're going to come in foot stomping through the door this is an outrage. It's looking for your freaking Guinness, and it's just oh, let me tell you something. But my reaction for it, I like being dead serious about this. I think I'm going to play through this, and I think I'm going to be it's lacking. I feel like I think I'm going to go into there's some missed opportunities here. I think it looks kind of similar. I think it's going to look way better next gen because I'm playing still previous gen.
Yeah.
I'm still playing previous. You're going to be playing it next gen. So I'm interested into our discussion of how ours played out. So that's going to be interesting to talk about. So my reaction is going to be more of the line it's good. I'm satisfied, but I think it's a missed opportunity. Your reaction, I believe, is going to be more in the lines of oh, they didn't really fix the mocap. Although the mouth still looks weird. I really hate the way they did Morpheus in this title. It's awful.
Oh, they did Morpheus dirty, man. Don't even give me that. That was such a dirty move on Lawrence Fishburne.
I like a swab,
No, they absolutely butchered that character. That was that was a complete, a third wheel in that definition. The first Matrix, there was no third wheel. That one was Morpheus was a third wheel.
Yeah, he was a third. No, I didn't really appreciate what they did with Morpheus.
My approach, if anything, is going to be looking at it because obviously I'm not going to be blown away by the story. I've seen the story. I kind of want to just relive the story anyway. My kind of thing will be watching it, and obviously I want to see the lip sync being fixed because, like I said, it's an issue. It's a big issue. It's mentioned by almost every sane reviewer that reviewed that game, including me.
Yeah,
I'm a Matt Craig for it as well. I'm in the Wikipedia page as well. I was have a scroll back down and see myself on it. It's quite funny.
Wait, what?
Yeah, I'm on the Wikipedia page for Life is Strange one. If you scroll down to the review section, you'll see my review in there. It's episode 3. It's for a couple of them actually. I think it's for episode 5 and episode 3. The kind of site episode 3, and I actually get a name mentioned in that, and then the other ones are citations.
Okay, so you got your little check mark on Twitter and your own Wikipedia page. Look at you go.
Yeah.
I'm proud that Luke is following me on Twitter. Not my sad little life.
I take Luke as a follow over my blue ticket any day of the week. But yeah, it's I feel lip syncing's an issue that I want to see fixed. They ain't going to change obviously the writing.
Look at you go.
Hey. Fun fact as well, my review is actually mentioned. Life is Strange review is mentioned in a book as well, which you can buy from Amazon.
Really?
Yeah, which is mad. I need to pick up that book myself. It's mad. It's actually, I need to really pick up that book. It's on my list of things to do. I just when I was searching for it, I was I haven't read it. It's who wrote that? I was my review's in it. But anyway,
yeah.
Back on point. Lip sync's the main issue. Obviously, we can't change writing and dialogue. Dialogue was a bit cringe, but it is what it is. You have to run with it. So that's going to be fine. And then obviously
your review, by the way, was episode 3.
Yeah, and then I think the paragraph below it is I'm footnotes. It's you'll see my name.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Adnan Riaz of Hardcore Gamers said episode 3 is god awful. He grabbed his Guinness, said it was £10 worth in a shilling, and God praise the Queen. That's all it says. It's kind of crazy.
I give some great reviews for Life is Strange on that. So yeah, like I think like that will be the issue that I was looking at in terms of the writing. Putting this podcast back on track. The writing, the facial animations will be a big one. I want to see like kind of like see the feel of it. Obviously, I think it'll hit more on home. Like I said, like that scene of like Rachel screaming. Even the Tempest. Who doesn't want to see the Tempest with like great facial motion capture? Imagine that with like high resolution graphics as well. It'll look insane.
By the way, I'm just plugging my computer in. Like, I forgot.
That's fine. But yeah, like that's what I mean. Like, I want to see those kind of scenes, like the Tempest. The first game, like when Max and Chloe reunite, the Vortex Club party, Jefferson. There's so many scenes, and that's what I want to do. And if you are watching the video version, Adam is completely absent. It's just me talking right now whilst he sorts his computer out.
I was listening from the headphones. Yeah.
But yeah, Adam, I think I've got everything said. I feel like I'm going to be going in circles otherwise. You got anything else to add?
I'm going to give one last crazy interaction here.
Ooh.
So it's being remastered by Deck 9, right?
I believe so.
I think everybody's going to be impressed with Before the Storm and hate the first game because they're going to put so much work behind their baby. And Life is Strange 1's going to be like, oh, yeah, we'll tweak it here and there. And like Before the Storm is going to like blow it out of the water how good it looks. Like that's my prediction. It's going to be...
It's actually a really good prediction.
I think it's going to like be like, whoa, this is stunning. And then Life is Strange 1 is going to be, or the way you would say, like, this is stunning.
Stunning.
But like, I think that's what's going to happen is that like Before the Storm is going to look wild in comparison to the first Life is Strange.
It could very much do. I think it could. I think obviously like the art direction is very similar, even all the way down to like the two of them. So I think like before we go as well, I don't really want to see certain things happen. Like for example, I would be a little bit peeved off if they somehow kind of like insert Steph into like a scene in the first Life is Strange.
Yeah.
I would personally be a bit peeved off if that was like kind of cameo that appears. Obviously no Katie voice or anything, but it's just like the character appears in like the background. I'd be like, oh no.
Yeah.
Like, no. It's just
like their way of being like, oh.
Yeah, I would be a little bit like that would be like the George Lucas kind of like adding 6 like, Monsters Inc. I'd be like, why is it, we know that these kind of games are set in the same universe. I feel like that's crossing.
Kind of like the Master Chief Collection too.
Yeah, if you were remaking it, I'd understand because you'd be like, maybe let's integrate Steph a bit more and kind of make it a bit thing. But I wouldn't want to see it happen in the remaster. It'd be like, I don't know if people I'm against that, but I don't know if people hate Hayden Christensen being at the end of Return of the Jedi, for example. When he was like brought in, it'd be like that kind of moment. Be like, right.
When I was a kid, I thought like, whoa. Like I was a kid and I first saw that because like DVD edition, I was like amazed. Like how they get an actor that looks like, because I was thinking that like they casted somebody in the prequel to look exactly like the Force Ghost. I was like mind blown, like, but they look so similar. How did they cast it so well? And then like I got to like 13, I'm like, oh, it's because. Oh, okay, I see what happened here.
I know. I will shamefully admit I was doing the exact same thing.
Yeah, I was like, they cast it so well.
that would be something I wouldn't want them to do. I don't think they will do it either. I just think it'd be, it would just be a bit too much for that. I would really want to. I prefer it being as authentic as it can be to the first 2 games, and even like the separate voice actors. I know the union strike happened for Before Storm, and so many people missed out their voice roles, but I feel like you just keep them separate. Everything was kind of, it just feels all fitting. It's all in the same universe. We all know that. There's like no really issue for me. So I kind of just want to.
And here's the other thing, like it is oh shoot, all I keep saying her is like the actress Chloe Price. I keep thinking it's Chloe Price and Aloy and
Ashley Birch.
Ashley Birch, thank you. I just keep seeing like
disrespect Ashley Birch as well. He disrespects Life is Strange. He disrespects Ashley Birch. Crucify him in the comments.
It's like is like Ashley Birch really like going to be voicing Chloe in Before the Storm remaster? Like she's got a lot on her schedule right now. I don't think they're gonna
it would destroy it, and it'd be shameful to kind of like get Rihanna DeVries' performance and that kind of interpretation.
Yeah, no, like I think she did a great job as Chloe, and like I'm not discarding her from that. But like I think if people are just like, oh no, they're gonna like recast and they're gonna make it right with Ashley Birch. I'm like, Ashley Birch doesn't have the time for that.
And
Like,
it cost a lot more money to get Ashley Birch now as well.
Yeah,
compared to when she came into Life is Strange 1. It's a lot more money.
That's the thing. There's no way that Ashley Birch went back into the studio and like, yeah, I'll do all of Chloe's line in this one. Yeah, totally. She's Aloy now. Like, I'm sorry. No, like, and she's Aloy. She's on a Apple Plus a TV series, whatever that's called, Raven's Quest, I think. Something like that. I think something like that. She's too busy. She's not doing that. So
no, but that would be crossing the lines of almost like a remake territory, and that's why I feel like I'm in a very true. I'm in a very nice area where I'm kind of like I have expectations, and I'm like my expectations aren't that high. They're kind of just like that. Yeah. It's just a little subtle additions I want to see. Even like if it's a photo mode, for example, they should add that. Why is there not photo mode in the first game? It's on the iOS version. That was a cool addition when I saw it. I was like, oh, yeah, that's actually quite cool. That'd be
cool, like addition. Like that would be the only addition that I'm like, oh, that's nice. You know, like features. Yeah,
you wouldn't include. There's no new game plus. There's no new anything else you can add. Like photo mode for me seems like one of the most realistic features that you can add into the game.
Yeah, I think the only thing that they'll add into the game is more of like quality of life issues. Like that's the thing. Like photo mode and Ashley Birch like voicing Max, and then Max the Hanatel voicing Chloe. Like quality of life things. It's fine.
I think like but yeah, if you are, leave us your thoughts in the comments. Do you agree with people being a bit more worried about the game? What are your thoughts? Like, are you going to pick them up at launch? Just generally, I always like to see what people's opinions are. But yeah, Adam, I'm going to think we wrapped up here.
Yeah, I think so. Shout out to my wife who actually embroidered Moon Knight into my hoodie for my birthday present. So just a little shout out, but that's all.
And you can see that on the video version. So if you're listening on audio, you can check us out on YouTube as well, Player One Visits the World. You can see there's a video version of this podcast and audio. But yeah, we're at the end of this episode. It's the first episode of 2022. Hope you enjoyed. Please leave us a comment and like and subscribe on YouTube. It does help with the channel. It really does, please. And also, if you are listening on podcast services, iTunes, Spotify, Anchor, follow us, subscribe, and give us a like if you enjoy these episodes. It does help. But yeah, first episode, many more to come. Obviously, we will look forward to a review discussion of sorts between about this remastered collection. And if Adam's predictions come true as well, we'll revisit. We might even do an entire episode of my impersonation as well. But yeah, guys, I hope you enjoyed it. We'll see you again in 2 weeks.
Peace.